happening, guys? Saturday morning. Just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about this whole kind of thing that gets in the way of us sometimes. When we are trying to recapture our strength, rebuild our health, rebuild our bodies, and become kind of the strong, fit, confident leaders. That we're supposed to be, that we want to be. That we need to be. And a lot of times what gets in the way is, this crazy kind of work schedule. I know how that is when, you kind of watch, like, over time, we have responsibilities, we have families we have to feed, we have to make money, we have to provide. And, we've got jobs now that take up a lot of our time. And, when we're not working, we've got family commitments, and all of these things happen. And it's kind of like over time, we start to get into this place where we're just, life is all about work, right? It's work, 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 go, go, go. And, you get stressed out, you're burned out, you're exhausted all the time. You just start feeling like crap. You have no energy, you have no motivation. And as much as you want to, you might want to lose weight, or you might want to, just get yourself back in shape, or, get yourself kind of, more energy and feeling better and, rebuilding your body and your health. And you just don't have, or you can't find the time, because everything is all about the kind of this crazy work schedule. You might have an unpredictable schedule. Maybe you work around the clock, or you're on call all the time, or you're just constantly putting in 12 or more hours a day, and you're trying to find the time and just wondering, like, how in the world can I do this? And a lot of times this is a thing that keeps us stuck. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how to do that. Like, how can we get to a place where even on the craziest kind of busy schedule, you still can rebuild your body and your health and your confidence and your energy and your motivation to be the strong, fit, confident leader that you were supposed to be here, that you're meant to be. So, this was one of the things that I really relate to, because I remember years ago when my daughter was just 6 months old, and I was at the time commuting. It was like an hour to and from work. And on top of that, I was putting in, almost 12 hours a day. And this was just constant. So, I left in the morning when it was dark. I came home at night, it was dark. I never really got to see my daughter much when she was awake. She was always asleep. At the time when my wife and I were, just like, I'd get home and she was just, tired and almost asleep. And it was just kind of like, really, just ruining a lot of things in my life. Like, it was negatively affecting, I should say, rather than ruining, but, it was really having a negative impact, not just on my energy and how I felt, but, my body as well. I didn't even have, like, the energy or the motivation to work out. And at the time, I was a personal trainer. Right? So go figure that, right? I'm spending all my time working and taking care of my clients, but I wasn't taking care of myself. I was neglecting my own health, my own body, and that just had a whole negative effect on every other area of my life. Like, I'd get to work and everything, but I was exhausted all the time, which, had a negative effect on my work performance. It had a negative effect on my relationship with my wife, and just kind of, my happiness, my confidence, my outlook on life. All of it was negatively affected by this stuff. And it's easy to think that all we need to do is to find our motivation, and you got to want it bad enough and have a big enough why and set bigger goals and kind of suck it up and deal with all the, embrace the suck and do all this stuff, right? And that's great and everything, but here's the problem with it, right? The problem with that is that these are just kind of, they're motivational kind of tactics, right? We try to use this to motivate ourselves, right? The problem with motivation, and willpower goes with this, but the problem is that motivation and willpower, eventually they run out, right? We have times where we're fired up, motivated, and then we have times where it really runs out. So, when motivation and willpower run out, then what are you left with? Right? Then you're just kind of left with, whenever you feel like making it happen, right? And that's a difficult place to be in, because then it's like, you go good for a while, and then when that motivation and willpower run out, then boom, back down. So it's like taking 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and this constantly happens. You get stuck, you struggle, you get frustrated, pissed off, you give up, then you start again, but then again, it's the same thing, and we get stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same behaviors, the same types of, the ways that we try to succeed. They're the same things that you know, that over time, you know, we succeed a little, then we fail, and then we go back and forth. We repeat the same thing, and we never really get in there. So we need a different strategy, right? A different strategy if we're really going to, you know, to rebuild kind of your health and your body and your energy and your confidence and your motivation. So here's one thing. You know, a lot of times it's easy to look at what you can't do, okay? And this has to do with something I call learning your language. It's one humongous principle that we need to really be aware of, because language, the stuff that goes on in here is has a huge effect. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings affect our actions. So if you have kind of language that's always telling you all the reasons why you don't have time, I'm too busy, my schedule's too crazy, you know, I can't, you know, all of that kind of language, that affects what you do, right? Because then that's all you see. That's your perspective. You just see all the things that are going wrong, that you can't do, all the limits that you have, right? And so, you know, what I'm inviting you to do is kind of to flip the script on this, right? And look at it from another perspective. Instead of finding all of the reasons why, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I'm too tired, the end of the day, I'm exhausted, I'm starving, I'm this, I'm that. Instead of looking at all of that stuff, even though that stuff might be true, not saying it's not true, but instead of looking at that, take another look from the other side and start to look at all the things that you can do. Find the things that you can do. Where in your day do you have time? How can you find the time? Put it to you this way. If your doctor told you you had 30 days to live, unless you found the time to make it to the gym or to do some kind of exercise, you know, 5 days out of the week or 4 days out of the week, if it was a matter of life and death, would you not be able to find the time then? Yeah, it's a morbid thought, but my point is this, is to show you that we actually can find time. If we absolutely had to, we can find the time. A lot of times, though, it's just where our priorities get a little bit, we get kind of stuck with the priorities, right? And it's not that we don't want to regain our health and become more fit and feel better about ourselves and rebuild our bodies and all that stuff. It's not that we don't want it. A lot of times we just get stuck kind of in the priorities that work always has to come first, and therefore everything comes last. But if we keep putting ourselves, our health, our bodies, you know, and ourselves last, what would happen if we couldn't work because something serious happened to us? Who would be there to take care of your family? What would happen, right? We don't want to get there. So I invite you to just kind of dig deep and look into the ways that you can make it happen. If this was life or death for you, how could you make it happen, right? Start small. It might just be one small thing that you can do. One small thing, and start there, because one thing is better than nothing, right? One step forward is better than no steps forward. So that's the invitation here I have today, is just kind of looking at your language, right? And flipping the script on it, and look from the other way and find the ways that you can make it happen to achieve the goals that you have, right? Because this is part of awakening that inner athlete that's in you and becoming unstoppable. You are unstoppable. Just have to kind of lift the limits and look at it from a different perspective and find that within you. All right, you guys, I'm wishing you a great Saturday. Leave a comment here below. Leave a comment before you go and let me know at least one way that you're going to find to recapture the strength, the health, the energy, the motivation, and the confidence, and you're going to become the strong, fit, confident leader that you most want and need to be. You're meant to do this. You are unstoppable. Take care. Have a great weekend.